The member for McMahon.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister delayed a royal commission into the banks for almost 2 years, calling it a populist whinge. Is the Prime Minister aware that this week the Royal Commission heard that one insurance company broke the law over 300,000 times? Instead of making excuses, when will the Prime Minister apologise to Australians for running a protection racket for bad behaviour and voting against the Royal Commission 26 times?
The Prime Minister has.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I'll ask the Treasurer to add to this answer. But, Mr Speaker, I'm not sure if the Shadow Treasurer didn't hear my response to the last question, Mr Speaker, but what I just made very, very clear was my deep regret for the reasons that I outlined. Now, I'm pleased that the Royal Commission is now proceeding. The matters that have been presented at the Royal Commission are deeply disturbing, but as he would know, the matters that they are investigating on so many occasions happened on the watch of those who sat opposite. They did not initiate a Royal Commission when they were in government. They did not even support a financial system inquiry when they were in government, Mr Speaker. This is an opposition that is a lion in opposition but is a mouse when it's in government, Mr Speaker. And so when they come in this place and they raise these issues completely blind to their own failings, their own culpability and their own lack of empathy, they only expose to the Australian people the shallowness of their position. I'll invite the Treasurer to add.
The Treasurer has the call.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, absolutely right. The clear view experience and the 300,000 alleged breaches by providing unsolicited advice was clearly wrong. Now, Mr Speaker, as the Prime Minister has indicated, we have taken a number of steps. We have granted ASIC increased penalties and increased resourcing. We have ensured that there's a financial complaints authority. We've put in a second Deputy Commissioner in at ASIC, Daniel Crenn, with specific responsibility for tackling this misconduct, Mr Speaker. And let's not forget, then it was the Labor Party when they were in office. You remember these terrible events. Storm Financial, Mr Speaker. 4,000 clients suffered losses estimated to be $3 billion. It occurred on Labor's watch, Mr Speaker. Opus Prime, 1,200 investors, costing millions of dollars. It occurred on Labor's watch, Mr Speaker. The collapse of Trio Capital, Mr Speaker, which had 5,000 victims, costing $176 million. It occurred on Labor's watch. They did nothing when they were in government, and again it's up to us to clean up Labor's mess.